Power Hour with Darren, Dimples, and the Music Man. Me. Hey, Dimps.
Hey, Mr. Music Man. How you doing this evening?
What's going on?
How are you?
Well, good. What's up? Two ladies. This is just a story. These two ladies at a network meeting came over to me, and he said, your show was really good, but we missed Dimples. Good evening, everybody. I just got the finger from Jim.
It's all part of the story.
Right.
Hey everybody, it's Darren from the Business Power Hour.
Hey,
I'm not going to be in the studio tonight. I'm traveling.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man, except Darren's not here.
I'm here.
No,
I'm
you're
right
not
here.
Does anybody see that? Darren is not here. Darren is away.
I am right here, right
Be quiet
next
for
to
a
you.
second. You're not here. Well, I don't know if you got lucky.
Not the really interesting question.
That's a fantastic question, Norman.
Wow. See, I got fantastic. You just got good. I got fantastic.
Show's about him, so let's focus on that.
We are.
Were you drinking before the show?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
There we go. We got it.
It's good.
No, it's...
Now we got
There you go. Okay.
Smother it.
So, I think you guys are doing a good thing.
It's making noise.
It's making music.
Is it?
Yeah. That's so sweet. That's so sweet of you, Darren.
By the way, this is a Yankee station.
It's a
Thank
Yankee
you.
station. John,
Thank you.
it's a Yankee station.
All right.
Unfortunately...
We got bugs in here. What's going on?
I don't know.
Do you spray? Get an
It's
exterminator?
that time of year where you're getting bugs and stuff. As long as we don't have bees, I'm good.
Yeah, all right. That's
But
We have a lot of undulations out in the field. Undulations.
Is that a wine?
it's...
What the hell is undulation?
Fred, don't use big words. Hey, right? So this...
Help.
I gotta give him a cough button, Jim. What do you think?
Cough button would be a good idea. Consider that a good question that he asked?
Great
There you go. There's
There
a
you go.
good
I
question.
got
Pythons and brains.
You're double D?
I'm double D. Show's about him, so let's focus on that.
We are. Hey, give me some loving.
How are you, Music Man?
Hello, Darren. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
I'm
this week.
absolutely convinced. I'm absolutely convinced that
telling
you
you.
got some kind of brain damage when you had that thing last year.
I'm telling you that, and he called.
Not classy, but classy.
Seeing interviews by Darren and the Music Man. Ladies and gentlemen, Darren Siafe and Norman Wasserman.
Let's do this. Yeah. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. Nice piece of artwork. Is
You
that
like
your new?
that, right?
Is that your new business card?
That's my new business. Well, actually, yeah, it's a business card for the Business Power Hour.
Exactly.
You know?
That's the way everyone's advertising now.
Yeah, and you got these made up for us. They look fantastic.
Yeah, they came out pretty
You
good.
know? They smell a little bad. I'm going to take this off because they stink. That I got to clean them. You can smell the ink. They get so. Yeah, thank you.
That could make you feel good.
Well, that was a very nice present that you put into my mailbox yesterday.
Okay, it's my pleasure. Did you see the invoice?
No, I didn't see the invoice.
Oh,
yet.
then you wouldn't be saying
I'm
it's such
sure.
a pleasure.
I'm sure.
Anyway, so what's up? How was your week? How was your week?
My week's always been busy. It's go go go. I got a lot of different things going on right now. We're changing some of the things that we're doing within the business. I don't know if you saw. I put an announcement out yesterday.
Yes, I did.
I get certified as a Profit First.
Mazel tov! Congratulations.
Yeah,
How do you say Mazel tov in Italian?
You say Mazel Tov.
A Mazel tov.
Mazel Tov. Yeah, there you go. You're sick, dude. So actually, I'm pretty excited because the creator of Profit First is actually going to be on the show next week. So I'm looking forward to having him on that.
Really?
But tonight's show is going to be a really good show.
Yeah, he's a very, very special guy in his field. I think he's going to get a really good response. He's in just about every kind of business because of his service.
Mm-hmm.
And he can cater to all businesses. And if you're ready, I know I'm ready.
I'm always ready.
We can go and we can introduce Mr. Bob Parmett of the Parmett Group in Hauppauge, Long Island, New York.
Give it
Hey,
up.
Rob. Welcome
Good
to the
evening,
show, Rob.
guys.
Hey,
Good evening. How is everybody?
everybody
good.
here
How
is
are you
fine. How are
doing?
you?
I'm doing fine, thanks. I'm working from the office. I got my girls working from home. I come to the office every day. I get things done. I'm very busy, and things are good. Things are good. I
Good.
can't complain.
How many people do you have coming in the office at this particular time?
Well, right now I'm the only person coming in the office, but I do have a staff of 4 people who come into the office regularly, and they're all working from home right now because of obviously the pandemic.
Right.
And hopefully next week things will open up and they'll be back in the office. But it's working out very well with them working from home. So
Normally speaking, do you only have 4 people or do you have more?
4 people who work for me, and then I'm a wholesaler of insurance products, and I have many salesmen out in the field who work for me and bringing in business.
Well, Rob, if you're looking for any people, I know a recruiter, right, that can help you out in getting anybody that you need, because that's the kind of guy I am, right, Norm?
Rob has no idea what I do. I see him meeting after meeting. I get up and I talk, and he has no clue what I do.
So Rob,
Is that
Rob,
right?
one of Norm's businesses, he's a recruiter. So that's why I said that. All right. So Rob, let's go back, and we're going to go back to when you were a kid on the playground. And did you ever think this is what I was going to do with my life, go into insurance and become an
No,
insurance?
I actually thought I was going to be a baseball player.
Okay.
And I was the #1 draft choice from the minor leagues to the major leagues and little league, and I made it in the Syosset Advance every week. I was a star little league pitcher and third baseman, so I thought I was going to be a baseball player. But I ended up in the insurance business because that's where my grandfather started out, and it's where my father started out, and so I'm 3rd generation.
So is this
What
3rd
position did you
generation?
play? What position did you play, Bob?
I was a pitcher and a third baseman.
Gotcha. Okay. Which did you like better?
Oh, I love pitching. I love pitching. There's nothing like pitching. In fact, my mom, God rest her soul, kept a scrapbook, and I still have that scrapbook to this day, and it has all the articles in it from the old Syosset. I grew up in Syosset on the island, and it sort of has all the articles from Syosset Advance in the journal. So it's really nice. It's really nice that you kept that for me.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. So you got out of high school, right? Actually, you get out of school, and then what do? Do you go right into the insurance business because you're 3rd generation?
No, actually, I graduated from Syracuse University, a Newhouse School of Public Communications. I ended up in cable TV for a couple of years. Then I went into advertising. I worked for Young and Rubicam for a number of years. And then I decided that I didn't want someone to dictate what my earnings would be, and I wanted to work for myself. So my father was in the insurance business, so I went to work for my father, who was in the insurance business. He was in the property casualty business, auto, home, business insurance, etc. And I went to work for him, and I worked for him for about 5 years. And then I went off on my own and started my own agency in 1991.
So you started the Parmett Group in 1991? Or is it
1991, yeah.
1991. Wow. So you're coming up on 30 years, right?
Yeah.
Got that right? Yeah. You're coming up on 30 years.
Well, yeah, 30 years.
You're getting to
Next
be an
year
old
will be
man.
30 years. Wow, that's a lot of time has gone by.
So you learned the trade working with your dad, right? And you said it was he did accidents, casualty and that type of thing. When you started your own firm, did you go into a different area of insurance, or did you stick?
I went into a different area of insurance. I worked for Guardian Life for a short period of time after I had been with my father. I went there for sales training, and then I came out, and my father had a partner, and unfortunately they were in litigation. So I went out and started my own business back in 1991, and I deal with the public directly. I'm also a wholesaler of life insurance, long-term care insurance, disability insurance, and fixed annuities.
Okay.
So, for example, I work directly with the public, but also I work with insurance brokers, financial advisors, CPAs, estate attorneys. If they have clients who have a need for any of these products, they come to me. They can't call up an insurance company directly. They have to go through a wholesaler. So if you're a property casualty broker or you're a financial advisor and you want to sell a Prudential life insurance policy, you just can't call up Prudential directly. You have to go through a middleman, a wholesaler like myself.
So did they have to be licensed in order to go through a wholesaler?
Yes, they have to hold an insurance license, and then they have to become licensed with a particular company that they're doing business with.
Okay.
How many licenses do you have?
Oh, I'm licensed in probably 35 different states, and I have various licenses. I have a life and accident and health license. I have a property and casualty license. I have what's called a life settlement license, which we'll talk about later. And I also have a consultant's license. So I have various licenses.
You have a
keeping
driver's
New York
license?
State Insurance Department in business.
Do you have a driver's license, Bob?
Oh, no, I
just want to check in case you have to make house calls.
They haven't taken it away yet.
All right. So let me ask you this. What is a consultant's license in your industry?
Well, oftentimes people come to me and maybe they have their own insurance broker that they're working with and they want a second opinion, or they come to me and there's some non-commissionable issue that they have. They have a situation with an insurance company. Maybe they have a dispute with an insurance company, and I can intercede on their behalf and help them. I've done that many times, and I could charge a fee as a consultant for my time and effort.
So instead of getting a commission, because there is no commissionable transaction, you could say,
Right.
hey, do you charge the person coming to you a fee, or do you charge the company that you're going up against a fee?
Well, I just charge I don't charge the insurance company a fee. I would charge the individual person or business owner a fee if they want me to do certain things that are non-commissionable.
Do you do commercial liability insurance as well?
No. I just do the life insurance, the long-term care, the disability insurance, and the fixed annuities.
Gotcha. So who's a good lead for
and
you?
the life settlements, which we'll talk about in a few minutes.
What's a good lead for you? What if Darren or I could get you, hopefully turn some people your way, what would you like them to be?
A business owner or someone with a high net worth who's doing estate planning, or maybe two business owners and they don't have a shareholders agreement, and they need a shareholders agreement. They need an attorney to put together a shareholders agreement, and they need to fund it with life insurance and disability insurance. And those are the types of clients that I look for. And also large clients with large net worths who have estate planning issues. We put insurance in life insurance trusts for them, so we keep the insurance out of their out of their estate. And also, if someone has a special needs child, someone with autism or some other special need, we put together a special needs insurance trust, and we fund that trust so that when that child turns 18 and becomes awarded the state, there's money outside that they can tap into to use for the benefit of the child or the adult, actually.
So we have some charities and that we work with and we talk to, and they hit on basically what you were saying. How expensive it is to set these trusts up, because a lot of these people who have these handicapped children, I have a brother who has cerebral palsy, and we had that similar situation. He basically lived with my parents until they passed away, but they weren't ready for him being out on his own other than what was there for him. They didn't prepare properly. So for an average family, How hard is it to set up one of these trusts?
Do you need somebody other than
It's actually not
yourself?
hard at all. It's actually very easy to do, and it's not expensive. A special needs trust probably, I'm not an attorney, I don't draw the trusts, but a special needs trust probably runs between $1,500 and $2,500, and they may want to have a power of attorney with that, a healthcare proxy, and some other items that may add to the cost of it. But special needs trust is not an expensive thing to set up. Anybody with a special needs child should have a special needs trust, and they could put certain assets in the trust, not only insurance, but they could put investments in the trust for the child, and any property in a trust for the child. There's a lot
So
of
if they
assets
have,
that
like,
can be put into the special needs trust.
So if they have like CDs, or they have they're gonna will their property to the child, they can actually put the property into the trust, and then the trust.
They could put it in the trust, and then when the parents pass away, the trust can sell the house or the home or whatever real estate's in there, and the proceeds could be used for the adult special needs person.
So
Now
how
this,
does,
I'm
and
sorry, go ahead.
you may not know this answer. How does this affect their support? Because for the most part, they become wards of the state, and the state starts paying for them. How does this affect?
Right. That's the whole point of the special needs trust. It keeps it out of the estate of the disabled adults, and it's not counted towards their assets when it comes to becoming a ward of the state. So, so sometimes, we'll fund it with $500,000 of life insurance or $1 million of life insurance, and it would throw off a certain income a year that adult could use to buy other things besides, whatever the state is supporting, their residents and their food, et cetera. But it could be used for spending money for the adults. It could be used to, vacations, certain things, and, it depends upon the severity of the disability.
Now, do these parents come to you directly, or do they need an attorney to go to first and then come to you?
They usually go to the attorney first and do the special needs trust, and then come to an insurance agent and fund it with the life insurance.
So, okay, so what you do is you set up a life insurance policy that goes into the trust, and then when they turn 18 or whatever it is, or when the life insurance policy matures, then they can start pulling from that. Is that correct? So I'm assuming
Well,
it's like
when
a
the
whole life
parents
policy?
are deceased, usually it's a survivorship life insurance policy that insures both parents,
Okay,
and pays a death benefit upon the second demise, and then the trust is funded with the proceeds from the life insurance contract, and
Got
then the trust has a trustee, obviously, who can disperse the funds to the adult disabled person as needed.
okay. All right.
So you were mentioning life insurance, settlements. You want to explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Life settlements is a very interesting topic. And people don't realize that life insurance is an asset, not only upon your demise, but while you're alive, it can become a very valuable asset. For example, if you're an older person and you have a life insurance contract and you don't need it or don't want it or can't afford it anymore, you have the opportunity to sell that policy to a third party. Normally what someone would do is call me up and say, okay, Bob, I can't afford to keep this policy anymore. I don't want the policy. I don't need the policy. And normally what they would do is they would either, cancel the policy. If it has cash value, they would return it to the insurance company for its cash value. But there are other options, there are other alternatives out there, because normally what happens is people buy life insurance maybe when they're in their 50s or 60s for estate planning purposes or for later in life purposes, or even they can buy it when they're younger, and they're a preferred health risk. And all of a sudden they get older and they become sicker, and well, the health starts to change as people become older. Obviously, they develop certain health issues. And now if they were to go out for new life insurance, they wouldn't be a preferred risk anymore. They may be a standard risk, or insurance companies have what's called table ratings, table rating 1 through 16. They may be a table 4 because they may have diabetes that is not under good control, or they may have a cardiac issue, and they may be, if they went out for new insurance today, they may be what's called a table 6. So what happens is they come to me, and what we do is we write to their doctors and we get their medical information, and we go out and we determine their life expectancy. There are actually companies that look at medical records and determine someone's life expectancy. And if someone has a shorter than normal life expectancy and they have a preferred life insurance policy, there are institutions, large institutions. People probably see commercials on TV for Coventry, but there are many institutions that buy these policies, Coventry, Peachtree, hedge funds, etc., that will pay a premium for the contract. So let's say, for example, someone has a permanent life insurance policy for $500,000 that has $50,000 cash in it. They can either return it to the insurance company and receive that $50,000 in cash, or what they can do is they can go out into the open market, try to sell that policy, and try to obtain more than that $50,000 in cash value. So just to give you an example, I recently had a case where someone had a $2 million life insurance policy with about $150,000 in cash value. Their health wasn't good, and they could no longer afford to keep the policy and pay the premiums. So we were able to go out into the open market and get about $850,000 for the contract, which was obviously much higher than the $150,000 the insurance company was going to return to them. So obviously they were very happy, and it's a good thing to put money in people's pockets instead of taking money out of people's pockets. As an insurance agent.
It seems like a good deal, right? They're buying these insurance policies at a discount, knowing that, okay, when these people die, we're going to collect and we're going to make,
right,
a ton of money on this thing. So, I mean, how do they value? I mean, I'm assuming that a lot of these whole life policies, you have to pay so much into it before they start paying for themselves, because you hear that a lot, right? With a whole life policy.
Yeah, usually it works best. There are different types of permanent insurance. There's whole life insurance, there's universal life insurance, there's variable universal life insurance that's tied to the stock market. Usually this concept works best with what's called a universal life insurance contract, because a universal life insurance contract, the premiums can fluctuate based upon interest rates and cost of insurance. Mm-hmm. People don't realize this. When they buy an insurance policy, a permanent insurance policy, I would say a universal life insurance policy, the insurance company may be charging them $1 per $1,000 of insurance now. I'm just making up numbers.
Right.
But they have the option, if you open the policy, there's a table in the policy. It says guaranteed maximum cost of insurance. And the insurance company may have the right to charge them $3 per $1,000 of insurance, or whatever that number happens to be. And it's the insurance company's way of making sure that they make money in case their mortality experience is not good, or interest rates remain low for a long period of time, which they have now. I've seen insurance companies quite recently increase the cost of their insurance in their policies because the interest rates are so low, and they promise these people that they pay them an interest rate of 4 or 4.5%, and the insurance companies obviously can't make money if they're paying interest of 4 or 4.5%. So what they do is they increase the cost of insurance, which increases the cost of the policy, the premium on the policy.
So what they're doing is they're saying, hey, I'm going to guarantee you 4%, right, on this, but the way that they're collecting that 4%, because the interest rates are so low right now, is actually you're paying for it. So how?
That's right.
If you think about it, I'm not really making 4% then.
That's right. You're only making 4% after the insurance charges, after the administrative charges, after the sales charges, and whatever's left, you're earning 4% on.
So that comes out to about a
you're not
0.380.
earning 4% on your entire premium, just on the amount that's left after all the expenses are paid out.
Has the COVID-19 virus, are there new rules or regulations in these policies now that you have to deal with? Like if you're writing a new one, I guess if it's already been written, it's grandfathered and whatever it is, it is. But on these new policies, are there new clauses? And I'm leading up to something which I want to ask you.
Yeah, life insurance does not exclude pandemics. You still don't exclude pandemics. That would have to be approved by the New York State Insurance Department or whatever insurance department, where people reside. But insurance has become more difficult to obtain, especially for older people today, because the insurance companies are worried about the COVID-19. And if someone is not a preferred or standard risk and maybe is what's called table rated, which I explained earlier, insurance companies are putting people on hold and saying, we're not going to issue a policy now until the pandemic ends. So, in fact, I had a situation today where I had a gentleman in his 50s who had some health issues, and the insurance company said, well, we can offer insurance, but only after the pandemic ends. So it's hurting business in a sense that insurance companies are skittish because of the COVID-19.
Well, they don't want to insure somebody and then they catch COVID and then die, right?
That's right. That's right.
Low risk reward.
So the reason why I asked that question, I know you said you don't handle it, but in one of my worlds, my entertainment world, I had heard rumors that the venues are going to be required to ask for in the liability policy COVID-19 insurance. Have you heard anything like that?
No, I haven't heard that, and insurance companies are not offering it. A lot of businesses obviously have been shut down, by the government because of the pandemic. And businesses have what's called business interruption insurance, and business interruption insurance pays them a monthly amount if they have a covered loss, such as a fire or a theft or break-in, or they can't, or water damage or something of that nature, where they can't operate their business, and they would receive a monthly income from the insurance company. But that's not covered under a virus. That's specifically excluded. If you can believe it, a virus is specifically excluded in the insurance company's policy language.
Yeah, but Bob, I'm sorry, Norm.
What I'm referring to is if I go to a venue and I sign up, if I use this venue and they need to take care of it, sterilize it, clean it, do whatever it may be. And I'm only allowed to bring in 10 people.
Right.
And one of those, and they come in all healthy, supposedly. But 2 or 3 weeks later, they come down with the COVID. I know it's very tough to go and prove on where they got it or whatever it may be, but people are getting worried about there may be a liability. That's all. That's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah, that is certainly a liability. But insurance policies as of this date do not cover it. That would only change if the insurance departments mandated that these things be covered under these insurance policies in the future.
Right.
Okay, so because I can't see how they could cover COVID, give you a COVID thing. I can't see it because how are they going to prove?
No, and then you have to prove it. You have to prove where you got the virus from.
It's just the rumor that's going around. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, they would go broke because anybody who got COVID, they would blame it on something else and they try to get a payday from the insurance company. So you can understand.
Right.
So the insurance industry right now is kind of like on hold in certain areas because of COVID, like life insurance. What other areas other than life insurance? I'm assuming certain medical insurances and health insurances and stuff that kind of like holding back on.
No, health insurance is obtainable because there's no pre-existing condition clause and there's no health verification when you purchase health insurance. They can't ask you medical questions.
Mhm.
With life insurance and disability insurance, it's different. Insurance companies underwrite you and they classify you. And if you're, again, as I mentioned earlier, if you have certain underlying medical conditions, such as diabetes or heart disease or elevated blood pressure, insurance companies may not want to insure you at this time because you're more susceptible. Your immune system may be compromised, and you're more susceptible to obviously getting the virus.
Okay. All right. So, Bob, what is your, I would say, what's your niche insurance that you do the most of? What area?
The life insurance.
Okay.
We write a tremendous amount of life insurance. We have about a email blast list of about 8,600 insurance brokers and CPAs and financial advisors that we blast to and we market to. We probably have about 150 insurance agents who write business through our office. So we process the business. Insurance agents will ask us for quotes, and we give them the quotes, and they go out and they take the application, and they send the application over to us, and we process the application. We negotiate with the insurance company or insurance companies for the most favorable rating we can obtain, and then the policy gets issued, and we send that policy over to the insurance broker or financial advisor, whoever it may be. Has to have an insurance license, obviously, and then that person would deliver the policy to the client. And then we follow up and we pay commissions to the brokers.
Okay. All right. So let me, because you're wholesaling, are you actually writing, or is the CPAs and all the other insurance people that you're dealing with, are they writing it and you're just processing it for them? How does that work? Because that goes back to, again, you're wholesaling, right? So how does that wholesale thing work?
That's right. If you were a CPA and you wanted to sell life insurance, you'd have to hold a license.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you just want to refer or recommend somebody to me, then you could do that. But I'm not allowed to pay a commission unless someone holds an actual insurance license. So anyone who holds an insurance license can come to me, and they could do business with me on the life insurance end, or the disability insurance end, or the long-term care insurance end. And the long-term care is interesting too. I mean, I could talk a little bit about that if you'd like.
Well, here's
that's
the scenario.
Something that's
Here's what I'd
concern
like
to
to
many
do.
people, many older people.
Bob, let's if we could, let's take the scenario of, say I was licensed, okay?
Yes.
And now I came to you and I said, okay, I got these life insurance policies that I want to write. Am I doing all the work for it and then handing it to you and you're processing? How's that work?
Basically, what you're doing is, yes, you're giving us the scenario, okay? We have these, what we call these quote worksheets that our brokers complete. Gives us some idea of someone's health history, family history, driving record, where they travel to. Insurance companies look at a lot of factors besides health factors, by the way. They look at driving records and where you travel to and family history. So they look at a lot of variables. So we have these worksheets that we give out to the brokers. They complete the worksheets, and they're not extensive. They're pretty easy to complete, and they forward them to us via email or fax, however they want. And then we represent about 30 different life insurance companies, and each insurance company underwrites differently. For example, Prudential, if you smoke cigars, they consider you a non-smoker. So if someone comes to me and they complete one of these forms, I see someone's a cigar smoker, I say, okay, let's go to Prudential. We'll consider that person a non-smoker. And then we'll provide the rates and the terms of the policy to the advisor, such as yourself, whether it's a term insurance policy or a permanent policy. And you'll discuss it with your client. And if your client wants to proceed, you'll take an application, you'll complete an application, you'll forward that application over to us. And what we'll do is we'll process that application with the insurance company. We'll scrub it up and process it. and we order the medical exam for the client and the medical records from the doctor. And once the insurance company has all that information, the underwriter can make an underwriting decision, and we negotiate with the underwriters again for the best possible offer. And it's what I do is a little bit different because people have the advantage if they work with me as opposed to just a straight insurance broker, is that I'm dealing directly with the underwriters. I'm speaking with the underwriters and the medical directors at the insurance company. And oftentimes you wouldn't believe it, but I'll speak to underwriters at an insurance company and they'll be looking at the records incorrectly, or they'll be looking at someone else's records and underwriting you because they have so many cases that they're working on. And doctors tend to make a lot of notes. And, I had an instance today where an underwriter claimed that someone had anxiety. And the fact of the matter was that, yes, that person had anxiety, but it just came about during this COVID crisis and there was no history of anxiety. So I was able to improve the insurance offer and the insurance rate for the person because they were just suffering from mild form of anxiety due to the COVID-19.
So do you recommend?
So they didn't have an extensive history.
If I came to you as a licensed agent, right? Because that's basically what they are. And I said, okay, I got this person. They have these, medical situations. Do you then say to me, you know what, let's put them in this company or let's put them in this company? Or can I say to you, I want to put them in this company or that company?
Well, I would tell you, I would advise you because I know how all the insurance companies underwrite. They underwrite differently. Mm-hmm. So I could advise you correctly, what insurance company you should go to. I also have an internal underwriter who works for me. So what happens on these larger cases, larger premium cases, what we'll do is we'll often order medical records from a client's doctor, and I'll have my underwriter review the medical records and write a summary. And what we do is, without any identifying information, without social security numbers or names or dates of birth, we can market this medical information with various insurance companies and ascertain the best possible offer. For example, I just got an offer on somebody today that came in standard, where another insurance company postponed them, decided they didn't want to insure that person. So you'd be surprised. Insurance company offers could be all over the place. I could get a decline and I can get a standard offer. I can get a decline and I can get a preferred offer, depending upon the insurance company and how they look at things. Insurance companies have medical directors, and a lot of them have specialties. Some may be cardiologists, some may be urologists, or some companies may be very good at underwriting diabetes because they have a lot of experience underwriting diabetes.
So let me ask you this question. You said a preferred rate or a standard rate. What's the difference between the two? Which one is better?
The difference is the premium that someone would pay for a contract. If someone comes to me and they say, and I determine from this questionnaire that they're a preferred risk, I'll quote them up with preferred rates.
Well, what is it? What
are lower than standard
what does preferred
rates.
Risk mean? What does preferred risk mean?
It means that the people fall into certain criteria. Maybe they have they're in excellent health. Maybe the only issue they have is high blood pressure, but it's under good control with medication. Or maybe they have elevated cholesterol, but it's under good control with medication. They may qualify as a preferred risk. Someone who is on blood pressure medication, but maybe isn't under great control, may be considered a standard risk, and the insurance company would charge a higher premium for that person.
Okay.
For that policy.
All right. Yeah. Now I understand. That makes perfect sense on that. I just want to do a couple of quick shout outs. Kyle Griffith joined us. Hey, Kyle. Jason Haas is on. Hey, Gadget. Paul George.
Hey, Paul.
John from Hazlitt's on, as always. And this guy, Norman Wasserman, joined us too. So everybody out there.
That guy Wasserman, he's been on for a while.
He's
definitely been I don't think he's missed the show in the years that
well, actually, he missed a lot of shows.
Since that
I used to live next to Norman Wasserman's daughter. Do you know that?
Did you really?
Yeah, he did. He lived right next door.
Wow.
I didn't know him then.
Right.
That's
Okay.
right.
Small world, right?
Crazy.
Very small world.
Let me ask you a question. What is the most interesting case that you've come across? It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be life insurance. It could be in your career, the most interesting case that you've come across.
That you made happen.
I've come across some crazy situations and some interesting situations. I came across a situation where someone applied for insurance as a male, and then had a sex change operation and became a female. And we went back to the insurance company, and we were able to get that person, because they were legally now a female rates, which are less than the male rates. So that was interesting. That was an interesting scenario.
I guess they had a sex change operation and everything, and you had
that was a hell of a medical report.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, well, it was a hell of a medical report, that's for sure. Yeah, and I've had some situations that make me feel very, very good and very positive. For example, I'll give you an example of something that I've done in the past. I had a gentleman who had 3 hardware stores in New Jersey, and when the market tanked back in 2008, 2007, whatever it was, he ended up losing all his stores. And he had some life insurance, shareholder life insurance that he had with his partners. And he came to me, he said, Bob, I apologize, but I can't afford to pay the premiums anymore on this term life insurance. It was $500,000 of term life insurance. I think the premium was something like $3,200 or $3,500 a year.
Right.
So he was nice enough to call me up and say, I can no longer afford this. I'm going to drop it. And I said, wait, before you drop your policy, let's see what your policy is worth. He says, what do you mean? I said, then I explained to him what a life settlement was, what I explained earlier. And he said his health had changed. He had lung cancer since 2004. This was now 2008 or 2009. And he had lung cancer for a good 5 years. He was doing okay. But we were able to go out on this $500,000 term policy, which had no cash value whatsoever. And we were able to get him a 50% offer, $250,000 for his $500,000 policy. And he wrote me a beautiful letter because his son was in business with him, and his son couldn't pay his mortgage. And, I guess it's tough to have an independent hardware store today, the Home Depots, et cetera. And he had 3 stores, and they all went belly up, and I was able to get him a nice chunk of money to help him financially. And that was very gratifying. That's why this life settlement is very gratifying. In fact, I have one now on an 88-year-old gentleman who's got a $2 million policy. And unfortunately, the son's paying the premium, and the son is sick with cancer, and the son can no longer afford to pay the premiums. So we're going to be able to get a substantial amount of money for the contracts. And it puts money in someone else's pocket, which makes me feel good.
That was a nice payday for you.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice payday. You got to be careful. It's a very difficult business, and you have to do what's in the client's best interest, and you have to negotiate with these outside firms for the highest possible offer. So it really becomes, I like the negotiation part of it because that's very interesting. It's a lot of fun. I like the negotiation process.
How much or how often are these? I mean, is this becoming a more common thing with these life settlements, or is this something that you've been doing? How long have you been doing the life settlement thing?
I've been doing the life settlements for probably about 10 years now. This all started back when AIDS came about, I guess in the early 90s, or maybe 80s, I guess. I don't know when it became prevalent. People with AIDS were selling their contracts. They were called viatical settlements. They were selling their contracts, and people were buying their contracts, or institutions were buying their contracts if they had a life expectancy of 3 years or less. So that someone has a life expectancy of 3 years or less, it's called a viatical settlement. If someone has a life expectancy of more than 3 years, let's say 7 years, it's considered a life settlement. So this all came about during the AIDS epidemic, where people realized that their insurance policies were actually worth more than the insurance companies would give them should they return the policies to the insurance companies.
Bob, let me just ask you, how do people get in touch with you? What is your phone number? How do they get you?
Oh, okay, sure. Sure. My name is Bob Parmett, and my phone number is 631-858-2800, extension 1001. And people can email me at bob@Parmett, that's P-A-R, M as in Mary, E-T-T, group, bob@ParmettGroup.com. And again, that phone number is 631-858-2800, extension 1001. And I really pride myself on doing the right thing for the client. And that's why I'm an independent agent and I don't work for one specific insurance company. I have the client's best interest in mind, whether it be life insurance, disability insurance, fixed annuities, life settlements. My client is the actual client. It's not the insurance company.
So your focus is in the best interest of the client, not necessarily how much money you can make off the commission.
That's right. All the insurance companies pay me commission. I'm very lucky to be very successful, and I don't look at commissions when I quote things up. I do what's best for the client, and I make whatever commission is paid by that particular insurance company. Some insurance companies pay higher commission than others, but I don't let that factor into what I do. I do what's best for the client, because my feeling is if I do what's best for the client, they'll refer other people to me, and that's how I became successful. So
okay, so here's a question that I have for you. Do you ever get pushback from an agent because you want to put them in an insurance company you feel is right for the client, but they know that if you put them in a different insurance company, they're going to make more money?
Yes, that happens. And I don't like to work. Those are very difficult people to work with. Those who don't want to do what's in the best interest of their clients. And, I'm a processing office. So I take whatever business comes in the door, and I see what brokers do, licensed insurance brokers do. And some of them do the right thing, and some of them do not do the right thing for the client. And I'm not one to say, I could go to the licensed broker and I could say, look, you really should be doing this, should be doing X when you're doing Y. And the insurance broker will say, no, continue to do Y. And I'm just a processing office. I have to listen to that because that broker is my client. But I'm a big believer in most people do what's in the best interest of the client. And I lead them, I have a way of leading them down that path that I've developed over the years. So what we really do most 99% of the time, what's in the best interest of the client. So that's a good question.
We have about 10 minutes left. Tell us a little bit about the long-term insurance. Capsulize it if you can, so we have time for you to get that information out.
Sure. Thanks, Norm. Long-term care insurance has become very expensive, and very few insurance companies offer traditional long-term care insurance policies. The only brokerage companies that offer it now are Mutual of Omaha and Transamerica. And what has become very popular is these life insurance contracts with the long-term care riders attached to them. Because if someone buys a long-term care policy, which pays for nursing care at home, an assisted living facility, or nursing home, and if they never have a need to use it, what they've purchased is peace of mind. It's like, you have to have auto insurance, or people have homes, they have homeowners insurance, they pay the premiums, so you never have a claim. What have you bought? You bought peace of mind. So the long-term care insurance become very expensive, and someone buys a standalone long-term care policy and they never use it, there's no benefit to it. So what we do today is there's life insurance companies that offer life insurance with long-term care riders, so that if someone buys this life insurance policy with a long-term care rider and they never have a long-term care claim, we know everybody's going to die. That we know. We don't know everybody's going to have a long-term care claim. So that if the person keeps the policy until they pass, there's a benefit for all the premiums that they've paid over the years. So that has become a very popular way to purchase long-term care today. And there are various companies that offer that. Some I prefer rather than others, I won't mention, but the long-term care is very important because people don't want to become a burden on their children and grandchildren to take care of them should they need nursing care or care in a facility.
Okay, so I mean, we hear about long-term care policies now all the time. It seems like that's a hot topic in the last few years,
Yes.
or becoming more and more popular, I should say. But they've been around for a long time, right?
They've been around since the 70s. CNA was the first insurance company to start marketing and selling long-term care insurance. And what happened over the years, a lot of companies joined in, MetLife, Prudential, Travelers, and those companies are no longer in the long-term care business. They no longer sell new policies because what had happened is they mispriced the policies, and actuarially, they didn't realize that insurance companies make money when people buy policies and let them lapse. That's why term insurance is such a big moneymaker for life insurance companies. People outlive the term insurance, and they never pay a claim. So, and people didn't realize that insurance companies didn't realize when people bought long-term care insurance, they were going to keep the policies for their lifetime. They thought a certain amount would fall off the books. So what had happened is that population became older, and as people become older again, they develop health issues, and that's when they need these policies. So insurance companies ended up paying out a lot more in claims than they originally envisioned, that they actuarially determined originally. And that's why it's become so expensive today to purchase long-term care insurance. There are certain advantages to long-term care, purchasing standalone long-term care insurance. You get a New York State tax credit up to a certain amount depending upon your age. It's not a deduction, it's an actual credit. If you're a business owner, you can take a deduction for the long-term care insurance, a traditional long-term care insurance policy, and you can discriminate. You don't have to include other employees. So there's certain advantages to the long-term care insurance, and the government should actually make the credits higher and the deductions larger, because what that would do is that would push more people into buying these policies so that people aren't dependent upon the Medicaid system.
So if you could change anything about the insurance law on long-term care, what would you change?
What would I change? I would make the long-term care insurance policies 100% deductible, or give people 100% state tax credit for the premiums that they pay into these policies. 100% credit may be a large credit, but a higher credit than they are normally giving now. And the government should give a tax deduction for people buying long-term care, because otherwise they become dependent upon the government and they become dependent upon Medicaid, which is not a good situation. And people don't want to become dependent upon Medicaid because oftentimes they can't choose the facility where they want to be in. If someone has a traditional long-term care policy, they have a wider choice of what facility they can go into, because facilities always like people who have private insurance rather than governmental insurance, because private insurance pays a higher amount.
Bob, question for you. We hear on the TV there are two companies that fight with each other all the time for $9.95 insurance for a month, senior elder care insurance. Is this legit? Do these insurance companies really pay off?
Yeah, but the benefits are very, very small. You often sometimes see these life insurance commercials on TV. You pay $1 a day, and you can buy $10,000 of life insurance, and those usually are for people who are not healthy. And those policies normally don't pay out during the first 2 years. They just return the premium during the first 2 years if someone passes away. And then after the 2-year period, they would pay out a death benefit of a small amount, $5,000, $10,000, something of that nature. So those are, they're popular for people who are not healthy, who can't get insurance through the normal insurance channels. And we sell that as well. There's a company called Gerber Life that sells what they call guaranteed issued life insurance, which means you can't be turned down. But the first 2 years, they don't pay a death benefit. They just return your premium plus interest, and after 2 years, they would pay out the death benefit. But the maximum amount you could buy is very small. It's only up to $25,000.
So it's
That's like
basically,
very small.
burial insurance.
yeah, it's enough money to put you in the ground, right?
Right. It's a burial.
But I don't want to go. I
Yeah.
want to go up. I don't want to go down.
Well, I don't think you have.
I want insurance that's going to guarantee I'm going up.
No, I don't think that's going to happen for you. So, well, Bob, we want to really thank you for being on the show. You were a great guest. You gave us a lot of great information.
Give everybody your phone number again.
Yeah, again, if
All right.
people
Thanks
wanna-
first of all, thanks for having me. My phone number is 631-858-2800, extension 1001. Feel free to call me if you have any questions or concerns, or you're interested in looking at something. I'm here to help. It doesn't necessarily have to lead to a sale. It could just be a conversation that you need to have with somebody. Maybe you have a policy that's in jeopardy of lapsing because the premiums have gone up and you don't know what to do with it, or whatever the situation may be. Maybe you have a long-term care claim, don't know how to handle it with an insurance company, or know what to do with it. I'm here for you, and I'm here to help. And I want to thank you guys for having me today.
You did a
It's
great
really
job.
been super.
Yeah, great job,
Thanks.
Bob.
Very
Thank you
nice.
for being on.
Very informative.
All right, Bob.
Great.
You have a great night.
You too.
All right. Have a great night, guys. Thanks a lot. Take
Bye-bye
care.
now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, my friend. Another great show.
I'm telling you, and next week we have two.
Well,
We're
we got
going to be Tuesday and Wednesday next
Well,
week.
wait. Did you tell me that we didn't have anybody for Wednesday?
But aren't we on the air?
On Wednesday? I mean, we'll show up. We'll have a party. I don't care.
Exactly. But don't be surprised what I can come up with.
I know you'll have somebody in place for Wednesday.
We will have somebody here.
You'll do it. But Tuesday actually is I'm pretty excited about. Again, like I talked about before, I was just certified as a Profit First professional. You know,
And kudos to you.
Yeah,
Good
and
job.
this is the book. Mike McAllowitz, who wrote the book and actually came up with the system, he is actually going to be on the show next Tuesday night.
Live? We're
Coming
doing
on
this live?
He's
Whoa.
coming on live. He's gonna, he's gracious enough to do that. I mean, this guy's all over the world doing stuff. Obviously, because of COVID, he really can't travel now and he's not out speaking. But and he just released another book a few months ago. Well, actually last month, Fix This Next. And because I'm a Profit First professional, I actually got certified in that also. So, there's a couple of different tools that I now
You're becoming way too big for me.
Well, yeah, well, I don't know about that yet, my friend, but no, look, it's a couple of additional tools and I'm already rolling it out to some of my clients, and as we continue on, it's going to be part of our offering and what we're doing and how we're
Well, what
doing.
is it about? Give us a little sneak preview.
Well, it really, Profit First is all about making sure you pay yourself first. And it's a real simple way for entrepreneurs and people who don't understand financial statements, how to understand their numbers and how to quickly be able to say, hey, you know what, I'm doing okay, or I'm not doing okay. And I don't need an accountant like me to sit down and explain it to them. Right. I just noticed Brian joined us. Brian, thanks for coming on. Brian.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
My friend. And as always, Brian's always talking about us, and we really appreciate that. But so this is a great way. And again, I'm already implementing it in some of my clients. They love it. They think it's the greatest thing. I actually signed a client on Monday because I'm a Profit First professional.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. So he goes, I went to your website. I saw you're a Profit First professional. He goes, I read the book. I wanted to do it, but I don't know how to do it. I said, well, that's part of what we do, and
Nice.
actually closed the deal. So, it's going to be a nice addition to what we do, and it's going to make the stress levels for my clients go down. So it's all going to be interesting, so, but otherwise, man, tonight was a great night. Looking forward to next week. We're going to have 2 shows next week. So Tuesday night, 7 p.m. right here on Facebook Live on the Business Power Hour.
Wednesday night, 7 o'clock.
And Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, because Norm's going to make sure we have, if we don't have somebody, we can do something. So
We'll have it. We'll get it done.
we'll get it done. So we want to thank everybody tonight for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week right here on the
Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. Everybody, please stay healthy. Wear those face masks.
Yeah, wear those face masks, stay healthy, and we'll see you guys next week. Good night, everybody.
Everyone.